The World News at 12 on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. I am Solomon of First our top stories. Federal government to arraign over church attack suspect 3 years after. 15 Zafur villages attacked with 144 people kidnapped in 1 week. Officer and 4 others killed as gunmen attack Kwara police station. Lawyer threatens legal action against NYC over raise service extension. State hit by 68% spike in foreign debt payment. On our international news, Australia to recognize Palestinian statehood with New Zealand potentially to follow. And on sport, Crystal Palace beat Liverpool to win Community Shield. Those are our top stories. Details coming up in just a moment. The federal government is set to arraign Idris Meza Al-Akzim Idris, Jamil Abdul Malik, Mohab Abdul Halim Idris, and Momo Abubakar, who are alleged to be responsible for the June 5, 2022 bombing of St. Francis Catholic Church in Owo, Ondo State. The suspects are to be arraigned before Justice Obiora Egwatu of the Federal High Court, Abuja. The federal government filed 9-count bordering on terrorism against the 5 defendants. The arraignment of the suspect comes 3 years after the then Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Rabo, said those behind the attack were arrested. The National Security Council had linked the attack to heinous activities of the Islamic State West Africa Province, ISWAP. Over 40 worshippers were killed and scores injured when marauders invaded the church during a Sunday service and opened fire on Catholics during Mass. Meanwhile, the security situation in Zafur State has taken another alarming turn, with fresh data revealing that 15 villages were attacked between the 4th and 10th of August 2025. According to a situation report released by the Zafur Circle Community Initiative, the attack led to the kidnapping of 144 people, the killing of 24 others, and injuries to 16 residents across several local government areas. The breakdown showed that the affected communities include Hesabe, Tunga Yama, Sauru, Lambasu, Dogon Madachi, Dankalgo, and Kwanalgalgo in the Bakura local government area. Mafara local government recorded incidents in Tabin, Rama, Matsafa, and Ruwan Gizo, while Rafin Jema in Gumi and the communities of Adabka and Masu in Bukoyum were also affected. The Zafur Circle Community Initiative noted that the persistent wave of attacks underscores the urgent need for improved security measures to protect rural communities from armed groups operating in the state. Still on insecurity issues, gunmen have attacked Bambala community in Ifeludu, local government area of Kwara State, killing 5 persons, including the police officer Adejumo Wasiu. Following the attack, the combined troops of security forces comprising operatives of the Nigerian Army, Police, Department of State Services, and local vigilantes were quickly mobilized to apprehend the assailants. The attack forced residents of the community to abandon their homes and villages, fleeing to neighboring communities for safety of their lives. The Kwara State Police Command confirmed the attack on Sunday via a statement by spokesman Adetun Ejure Adeyemi. The statement added that the Commissioner of Police, Kwara State Command, Adekemiojo, accompanied by the Director of the Department of State Services, DSS, Kwara State Command, paid an on-the-spot assessment visit to Babala to evaluate the security situation. Residents are urged to remain calm, vigilant, and cooperative with security agencies by providing credible information. Away from insecurity matters now, human rights lawyer Inebehe Efiong has threatened legal action against the National Youth Service Corps NYSC, accusing it of prosecution over the extension of a Lagos Corps member Uche Ugwame's service year. According to him, the NYSC has yet to officially communicate its reasons to the Corps member Ray. The rights lawyer noted that Ray's ordeal came shortly after she publicly complained about the soaring cost of commodities, her inability to afford basic goods and services. Ray made headlines in March after she publicly criticized the present administration, accusing it of worsening Nigeria's economic conditions. The NYSC, in a statement on X on Sunday, said she was disciplined for failing to attend the April 2025 biometrics clearance in line with the NYSC bylaws. The service said her year was extended by 2 months and insisted the move had nothing to do with her political views. However, her lawyer said she was present for clearance in the month of April but deliberately denied the privilege by NYSC officials in the Etiosa local government area of the state. Meanwhile, human rights lawyer Femi Falana, joined by former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, have condemned the NYSC's withholding of Ray's certificates as overzealousness and impunity, warning that such actions risk suppressing dissent and violate constitutional protections. States collectively spent about 235.58 billion naira on servicing external debt obligations in the first half of 2025. This is according to an analysis of the data from the Federal Account Allocation Committee disbursement released by the National Bureau of Statistics (NBS). The amount represents a sharp increase of 95.65% billion naira or 68.4%. when compared with the 139.92 billion naira recorded in the corresponding period of 2024, showing the mounting pressure of dollar-denominated debt repayments on state finances in the wake of the naira depreciation. It is crucial to note that the federal government undertakes external debt servicing on behalf of the state through a revocable standing payment order arrangement, which authorizes authentic deductions from their monthly FAAC allocations. Under this process, once an external loan has been approved and a subsidiary agreement executed, the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation, working with the Federal Ministry of Finance and the Central Bank of Nigeria, deducts the agreed debt service amount before releasing allocations to the state. According to an analysis, January 2025 began with a hefty outflow of 40.09 billion naira towards external debt servicing, a sum that dwarfs the 9.88 billion naira paid in the same month of 2024. This represented a year-on-year jump of more than 305% and was the highest single-month repayment in the first half of the year. In February, the state collectively paid 39.10 billion naira, a figure which, although slightly lower than January's, was still markedly higher than the 24.53 billion naira disbursed in February 2024, representing a 59.5% increase. The size of Lagos foreign debt repayments, more than double that of any other state, reflect both its long-standing borrowing profile for large-scale infrastructure projects and the impact of exchange rate weakness of dollar-linked obligations. You're still tuned to the World News at 12 on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. We now join Kami and John from our Abuja studio for more news.
Thanks for staying with us. These are the latest developments in the nation's capital. I am Kamian John. The Federal Capital Territory Administration has demolished illegal structures and impounded vehicles as part of a targeted cleanup operation aimed at tackling crime in Abuja. The FCT Minister's Special Assistant on Public Communications, Larry Olayinka, says the exercise, which also saw weapons seized, will be followed by a mop-up to prevent criminals from returning. Among the locations cleared was jazz and blues entertainment at Panorama Recreation Park in Wuse Zone 3, identified through intelligence as a hideout for organized criminal networks. Security agencies, including the NDLEA and DSS, say several areas, notably the Banana Green Belt from the Central Mosque to Wuse Zone 3 and 1 and the Area 10 corridor, have been used by assailants to evade arrest after attacking residents. Authorities insist the operation is a public safety measure based on credible intelligence, not an act of persecution. The federal government is being urged to ratify the International Labour Organization's Convention 169, which protects the rights of indigenous and tribal people. The appeal comes from the network of journalists on indigenous issues, making the International Day of the World's Indigenous People. The group's coordinator, Adewale Adeoye, says Abuja's over 2 million original inhabitants still face poverty and marginalization, despite the Federal Capital Territory thriving on investment made on their ancestral lands, often without fair compensation. The convention, adopted in 1989, compels government to respect indigenous rights, safeguard territories, and ensure participation in decisions affecting their communities. So far, only 23 countries have ratified the treaty, with just one in Africa, the Central African Republic. NEJI is calling on the National Assembly to make Nigeria the second African country to sign on, moving from what it calls token gestures to lasting institutional measures that address decades of deprivation. The Yakubu Gowon University Abuja, formerly known as the University of Abuja, has named Matthew Adamu as acting vice chancellor. A statement from the institution's acting director of press says the appointment takes effect from August 11, 2025 for a 3-month period. Adamu takes over from Professor Patricia Lar, who served a 6-month tenure marked by academic and administrative stability, and the initiation of the process to appoint a substantive vice chancellor. The acting registrar, Rosalind Adakayi, says Adamu's mandate is to support the governing council, chaired by Senator Olariwaju Tejosho, in concluding that process. She also expressed the university community's gratitude to Professor Lar for her leadership and wished Adamu success as he guides the institution through the transition. Those are the latest developments in the nation's capital. I am Nkamiang John.
That was Nkamiang John reporting from our Abuja studio. We'll now go straight to our analysis segment, where I have Peter Anosike, a current affairs analyst. He's also an academic doctor with PhD on consulting and profit management from Arraign University, State of Delaware, United States. Dr. Anosike, thank you for joining us on the news at 12.
Thank you for having me.
Now let's go to the first talking point, which is the federal government arraigning killers of our attack 3 years ago. And when you see the spike of insecurity in the country, this is, would say, officially the first time that we're hearing that suspect of a terror attack will be arraigned in court. Why is this different from the other terrorist attack we've had in the past?
Well, for me, it is a positive development. At least these terrorists, they have been pampered. They have been pampered, and we've not really heard them being held accountable for their atrocities. So this is the beginning, and I wish it continues. But the concern is this: why is it taking 3 years for them to be taking that to court? What kind of investigation are they doing that will take up to this time? So for me, maybe there could have been moves to
truncate the investigation.
Understand? If not that that on the community say that the culprits must be brought to justice. So taking 3 years is a hell of a long time.
Probably they're trying to cross all their T's and dot all their I's, because I mean they say it's better to allow a guilty man go free than to prosecute
an innocent
man.
Sure, yes. But it's taking a long time, and I feel that we are going to see speedy trial because all the investigations must have been done now. Understand? They must have done all the investigation, and if they are really all the people involved, they should pay for the atrocities.
And then, of course, following that with lots of other insecurity stories where, for example, in Zafur State, 15 villages were attacked and 144 kidnapped in 1 week. We also have the same situation in Kwara State, where a police station was destroyed, an officer was killed, and these attacks keeps piling up and piling up and piling up. And at this point, we're tired of asking what the solution is. When of course, we've had several allegations that some of these attacks are politically motivated, and the people at the top, with investigations that have been going on, know one or two of those persons involved in this attack, but have failed to prosecute them. I think that is what Nigerians are looking for. Just like you said before, these people that will be arraigned for for the Owa attack is a right step in the direction. But when will some of those politicians, high-profile elites that are financing this terrorism, when will they be exposed and prosecuted? That's the questions on lots of minds of Nigerians.
Some years back, they said that about 400 names of a sponsor of those sponsoring this terrorism were sent to Nigerian government from Dubai, and up to today, we've not heard much about it.
All through Buhari's administration, he keeps saying that at the right time, these people will be exposed, and nothing.
So we've not heard anything about it. And when Tinubu made his appointment of ministers and Mata, when the former governor of Zamfara was made the defense minister state, I said on air that this is a wrong appointment, because the governor failed woefully in insecurity, in fighting security in his state. So why should you give somebody who failed as a governor that's a appointment at the federal? So now charity begins at home. The minister cannot defend security in his own state. So what do you think that he can do in other parts of the country? And the truth is that this government has no answer to this security that is disturbing all the country.
I mean, I've heard some analysts say that they actually do have the answer. Unfortunately, for whatever weird reason, it's like some of the people involved with this terrorism are like a bigger shadow cabal going on that the government is too afraid to prosecute.
I don't want to believe that. Their problem is they don't have capacity to tackle insecurity. Nobody is more powerful than the government. So if they have
then how do you explain some of the list that they said they have with the people financing terrorism in Nigeria?
I say nobody is stronger than the government, but the truth is that they don't have all the capacity. If they have the capacity, they'll have moved in and run all those people in.
I wish we can talk more on that, but we have to quickly move to the next topic for discussion, where Ray is on the news again. That the NYSC core member serving in Lagos, Oshe Guamaye, and this time allegations have been pointed to NYSC that they are trying to truncate her progress as far as the service here is concerned, with the NYSC giving an excuse that she failed to meet biometric clearance, and she's been punished for that, extending our service here by 2 months. What do you think about that?
So we shouldn't be emotional about this. did she fail the biometric test? That's where we should start.
According to her, she did not. According to her, she said when she went to local government, where she's posted to do her clearance, she was told to wait, and they kept postponing and postponing her. Apparently, it looks like a plan from the start.
So why was she told to wait? For me, this government is very petty. Understand? They are behaving like kindergarten children. Mind you, that the nurse that rejected in Delta, the nurse that rejected that song, Remi Tinubu is our mother, they failed her. Understand me? So when you check, there's every possibility that they just want to punish her. Understand? Because this government is very, very petty. But using institutions on vengeance is very, very wrong. Using institutions on vengeance is very, very wrong. Because government comes and goes, institutions remain. And when the NYSC begin to involve in partisan politics, it's very, very unfortunate.
But is it possible, though, that, it's easy for us to point fingers to the government, or they're not acting like a democratic country, they're silencing dissent. Is it possible that some of these agencies, ministries and spokespersons and people working with the government are just being overzealous?
No, they just want to look good. That's for the government in power.
Because it's possible that it's not the government that's responsible for some of this silencing of dissent. It's just people trying to show the government of the day, that we can do this, even without being asked.
They just want to look good. That's on the part of the government. Understand? Now, fighting wars that doesn't concern you. Because for me, what she said at that point in time was true, is true, and will remain to be true. And a lot of Nigerians are going to bed without food. Understand? Even the 70-something thousand that allowance is nothing to write home about. When you go to the market, it cannot sustain anybody for 2 weeks. It cannot sustain anybody for going by the cost of things in the country. So what she said is true. Then if they are punishing her because of that, they will regret it.
Okay, Dr. Anosike, thank you very much for your time. It's good to always, it's always a pleasure talking to you here.
Thank you for having me.
That's Dr. Peter Anosike. He's a current affairs analyst. Of course, he's an academic doctor with PhD on consulting and profit management from Brunel University, State of Delaware, United States. And for a quick look at what's happening outside Nigeria, Australia will recognize a Palestinian state in September. Australian President, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has announced. Albanese said on Monday that his government will formally announce the move when the United Nations General Assembly UNGA meets in New York. A two-state solution is humanity's best hope to break the cycle of violence in the Middle East and to bring to an end to the conflict, suffering and starvation in Gaza, Albanese said at the news conference in Canberra. Australia's announcement comes as Canada, France and the United Kingdom are preparing to formally recognize Palestine at the meeting next month, joining the vast majority of UN member states. It also comes about a week after hundreds of thousands of Australians marched across the Sydney Harbour Bridge to protest Israel's war in Gaza, in the Gaza Strip. And after sport, Crystal Palace twice came from behind to stun a new-look Liverpool and win the Community Shield for the first time on penalties after a 2-2 draw at Wembley. New signings Hugo Ekitike and Jeremy Frimpong scored for the Premier League champions, but Crystal Palace responded through Jean-Philippe Matete and Ismaila Sarr before winning an error-strewn shootout 3-2. Mohamed Salah blazed over the sport from the sport, and Alexis McAllister and Harvey Elliott were denied by an inspired Dean Anderson as Palace built on winning their first ever major trophy by beating Manchester City in May's FA Cup final. The traditional curtain raiser to the English football season was given extra significance after a summer marked by tragedy for Liverpool. forward, the Ogujota was killed in a car accident alongside his brother Andre Silva. Reds legend Iron Rush and Palace chairman Steve Parrish laid wreaths on the side of the pitch before kickoff. And before we go, here again are the top stories. Federal government to arraign our church attack suspect 3 years after. 15 Zafur villages attacked with 144 people kidnapped in 1 week. Officer and 4 others killed as gunmen attack Kwara police station. Lawyer threatens legal action against NYC over race service extension. State hit by 68% spike in foreign debt payment. On the international news, Australia to recognize Palestinian statehood with New Zealand potentially to follow. And in sports, Crystal Palace beat Liverpool to win Community Shield. And that's the world. This is 12. I am Solomon of FM. Do follow our social media handles at VOP903FM. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at VOP903FM. Good afternoon and thank you for listening.